Did you know over $1 billion was lost by the Australian government to gold carousel fund scams? These scams were run mostly by gangs who would use these schemes to generate input tax credits in one entity, which are refundable, and GST payable in another entity, and that entity would, of course, disappear. There were a bunch of variants of this scheme, and actually it wasn't even original. It came from the UK and Canada, where they were running it years ago. But essentially, there's one entity which makes a taxable supply, so GST is added. The entity that receives it gets an input tax credit, and then there's a third entity where it's sent to in another form, or it's sent overseas as a GST-free export. The first entity that made the taxable supply ceases to exist at one point once it's generated enough GST. Now, to claim a credit for GST purposes, you don't have to prove the solvency of whoever gave you the credit. That's not how the system works. You just get it back from the ATO, and the ATO chases who should have paid it. That's the very simple version. Some of the more complex versions had hundreds of entities with gold going in various forms all over the place. The good thing about gold is you can't really trace it once it goes through 100 entities in different forms, including melting it down, making it into scrap, changing the purity, and then putting it back into investment grade form. So ATO was going ham on these people. They even told the government, this was about 4 or 5 years ago, they were definitely going to win these cases, about $1.15 billion, plus they're going to claim costs as well, because that's what you do. And then somehow the ATO cocked it all up, even though everybody knew it was a scam. The papers were saying it was a scam. It was a scam imported from other countries that had already prosecuted people for doing this. Anyway, so that's why the ATO hates the gold industry.